Hello, this is Danny, welcoming you to the 2202nd edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline the 15th of August 2019. The readers this week are Kitty, John, with Peter on the controls, and this edition was edited and produced by Phillip. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Bouillon, Harry Breuer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. The local news stories that we'll be reading come from the Enfield Independent and Enfield Dispatch. The lead story this week, Extinction Rebellion to Reclaim the Streets. Before the news, we have some notices for you. First, the sunrise and sunset times for the week beginning the 19th of August 2019 are sunrise at 5:52 and sunset at 2016. Do get in touch with us to share your own news and special announcements. We love to hear from you. If you have any comments about the Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020-8805-6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. Now, Kitty will read the first item of local news.
Extinction Rebellion to Reclaim the Streets. Extinction Rebellion groups from 5 boroughs have announced plans for a North London uprising. Rebels from Haringey, Enfield, Barnet, Islington and Camden will occupy the streets on September the 7th and 8th to fight against climate inaction. There will also be workshops, training and entertainment to celebrate the area's community spirit. Jessica Peverell, a member of Extinction Rebellion Haringey, said, "The time to act on the climate is now, not tomorrow. We're encouraging everyone, whether they're part of Extinction Rebellion or not, to join us in reclaiming the streets of North London in a sign of solidarity and demand action on this climate catastrophe." The weekend's events will be a mixture of fun but also action as we look towards the International Rebellion in October. Rosie Lee Sparkle, a member of Extinction Rebellion Islington, said, "Since the International April Rebellion, there have been uprisings taking place all over the UK and around the globe, and these have been vital in continuing the momentum and keeping the climate and ecological emergency firmly in people's minds." The North London uprising encompasses many actions that will speak the truth, encourage people to sign up and participate in the conversation. For new members, it offers the chance to take their first steps in action with XR, to get trained up and to learn XR's values, not just through a talk, but through the experience of seeing how people can come together and create beautifully disruptive actions while remaining peaceful.
Plans for thousands of homes and a new school. Plans for up to 2,300 homes on the site of the £6 billion Meridian Water Scheme have been submitted by Enfield Council. The application, which aims to create a vibrant riverside community, is the largest ever submitted to the local authority and has been accompanied by a second application which sets out the strategic infrastructure required to support the new homes being built. As well as the housing element for the scheme, of which a minimum 40% will be affordable, the application also includes the option to include purpose-built student accommodation or large-scale purpose-built shared living accommodation and a hotel. It will also contain commercial, retail and social infrastructure along the river front and a new 3-form entry primary school, as well as supporting infrastructure. Brooks Park and river naturalisation form part of the plans, which would see the naturalisation of parts of the eastern bank of Pims Brook to create an ecological river landscape and provide riverside parkland. Enfield Council's leader, Councillor Nezil Kaliskan, said, "Our proposals for Phase 2 of Meridian Water will, if granted planning permission, provide thousands of homes and first-class infrastructure. It will play a significant part in the Council's plans to provide thousands of new homes and jobs on the site, of which the local residents will be the primary beneficiary. Enfield Council's corporate priority is to provide much-needed housing and jobs for local people, growing the local economy and enhancing our local communities." Enfield Council's flagship development continues to gain momentum following the recent announcement of Galliford Try Partnerships as the development partner for the delivery of the first 725 homes at Meridian 1, part of Phase 1. The new homes will be delivered around the new Meridian Water Railway Station, which opened in June and will serve up to 4 million rail passengers a year. The search for a new developer for Meridian 2 at Leaside Road has also started, and this will form part of the Phase 2 site. The scheme, if granted planning permission, will deliver around 250 affordable homes with workspace on the lower floors, earmarked to bring makers and creators to the area. A bid has also been made for £156 million of Housing Infrastructure Fund cash from the government, which, if agreed, will help fund the first phases of strategic infrastructure works in Meridian Water, as well as a more frequent rail service through the new station. The application is currently going through the validation process, and once this has been completed, interested parties will be able to view and comment on the proposals at, now, listen carefully, this is on your computer, https://forward/new.enfield.gov.uk/services/planning/the-planning-register/
Free Festival will celebrate Europeans. City Hall will celebrate the contribution of Europeans in London next month with a free festival celebrating cultures from across the continent. The Mayor's We Are All Londoners event on Saturday, September the 21st, will showcase European culture and address the challenges of Brexit for EU nationals in the city. European Union citizens will have access to free legal advice from immigration advisors on applying for the EU settlement scheme, which will allow them to stay in the country after Brexit. There will be a panel discussion on Brexit and an awards ceremony celebrating European Londoners who are applying for settled status. The festival will also include music from across the continent, alongside art exhibitions, food tasting, workshops and film screenings, all celebrating diverse European cultures. Sadiq Khan is a vocal opponent of Britain's exit from the European Union and has repeatedly called on the government to revoke Article 50 and hold a second referendum on Brexit. The Mayor said this event was a way of underlining what European residents bring to the capital. He said, "London's diversity is a key part of what makes our city so special. We have seen how EU Londoners have helped define our capital for generations, and I'm proud to host a celebration in their honour at City Hall."
Theft in car park. A woman was robbed of nearly £1,000 after becoming a victim of distraction theft. Norma McKinnon, an immobile 80-year-old from Enfield, became a victim of distraction theft for the second time at the same location. Both incidents took place at the Morrison's disabled car park at Salisbury Road, Enfield. On July the 3rd, Miss McKinnon was returning to her car after shopping when she was approached by a man appearing to be in his mid-40s. He was said to have been carrying a sheet of paper and asking for directions to the hospital, which was used as a distraction while an accomplice reached into her bag and took her Visa card. Miss McKinnon said, "I didn't realize it at first. Later, I was waiting for a payment to come in from my insurance, and then as I checked, I noticed £470 was taken out of my account." Before freezing her card, 2 additional withdrawals of £320 and £300 were taken out at different locations. Lloyds Bank have returned the money withdrawn from the account. A similar incident occurred 3 years ago at the same car park, where 2 women asked for directions as a distraction while attempting to steal Miss McKinnon's handbag. The pensioner noticed the attempted theft, and only £10 cash was taken. Miss McKinnon added, "I do think people need to be made aware of this. Losing the money was bad, but it was the shock of it, the fact that people do these things. Police are currently investigating the recent incident."
Calls for Slavery Museum in Capital. Sadiq Khan has backed calls for a British slavery museum in London to tackle current-day racism in the UK. The Mayor said, "Understanding Britain's role in the slave trade would strengthen our commitment to fight racism and hatred in all its forms." London was one of 3 major UK ports, along with Liverpool and Bristol, to profit from slavery. It is now among the most diverse cities in the UK, with 3.5 million black and minority ethnic residents making up around 40% of the population. The Mayor described the museum proposal as both welcome and timely for the capital. He said, "It's right and fair that all Londoners see themselves and their history reflected in our city's museums and cultural institutions. Learning more about the uncomfortable nature of our city and our nation's role in the transatlantic slave trade can serve to deepen our understanding of the past and strengthen our commitment to fight racism and hatred in all its forms." The museum proposal comes as part of a series of mayoral policy suggestions in a report from the Fabian Society. The Labour-affiliated think tank has laid out its ideas for Sadiq Khan's second term as mayor if he is re-elected next year. In the report's chapter on race equality, Omar Khan, director of the Runnymede Trust, a leading race equality think tank, said a slavery museum would help address present-day race inequalities in Britain. He said, "It is time to add the history of enslavement to our commemorations. We gain greater moral reflection from considering the times in the past when we failed to live up to the values of humanity, freedom and democracy than we do when we portray ourselves as always being on the right side of history." The Runnymede director said the government and London's financial sector would have a moral obligation to support the museum if the mayor pursued the policy. The proposal comes as racism is rising in the capital. There were 1,586 race or faith-related hate crimes in London in June, up 3% on the previous month and 4% in the last year. Labour Assembly member Florence Eshalomi said Londoners were not always aware of the history of slavery in UK because black history is still missing from school curriculums. She said, "Unfortunately, some people still don't understand what happened with the transatlantic slave trade. It's important that the truth of what happened
Popularity
is
of cycle scheme. It's been 9 years since London's iconic cycle scheme arrived in the capital, and one prolific user has made 16,000 trips on hired bikes since then. The mystery rider has clocked up an average of almost 5 trips a day on Santander bikes for nearly a decade, according to Transport for London, TfL, data. The bicycles sponsored by Santander Bank are known as Boris bikes because the new Prime Minister presided over the scheme's launch during his time as mayor. Credit for the bikes is often disputed, with previous Mayor Ken Livingstone announcing a similar policy shortly before he left office. Regardless of their origin, the project has proved popular, with a record 10.5 million trips last year. Since their introduction in 2010, almost 5 million different customers have cycled more than 180 million miles on the bikes, the equivalent of 3 return trips to Mars. TfL said some Londoners use the scheme for work, for example, letting agents cycling between viewings, which could explain how the scheme's biggest fan has racked up so many journeys. An estimated 62% of trips on the bikes are for business, and 38% are for leisure, according to analysts by the Transport Network. TfL has now launched a map of protected cycle routes to celebrate 9 years of the scheme, encouraging more customers to ride for pleasure. The map shows 3 interconnected loops, taking in some of the capital's best-known sites: the Hyde Park Loop, Royal Loop and Thames Loop together show off the Serpentine, Buckingham Palace, the Houses of Parliament and views of the river. All routes are protected cycle lanes, meaning riders do not have to compete with other road traffic. There are now 70 miles of bike lanes in the capital, and the figure has doubled since 2016. David Eddington, head of cycle hire at TfL, said, "In the last 9 years, London's flagship cycle hire scheme has gone from strength to strength, helping millions of people commute to work, explore the capital and get active. Our customers have been vital in helping us achieve a string of record years, especially Santander Cycles' top customer, who has used the scheme an incredible 16,000 times since 2010. We hope that the free lead rides will be a great opportunity for people to build their cycling confidence."
New project to help tackle homelessness. The Mayor of London is funding 200 homes for rough sleepers and domestic abuse survivors to help them get back into stable accommodation. The Mayor's Move On homes will provide a bridge between hostel or refuge accommodation and permanent housing in private or social rented properties. The first homes will be available as early as this autumn, with all new builds to be started by March 2021. Sadiq Khan is spending £25 million on the first round of housing, with a total of £50 million earmarked for the project. Homelessness in London increased 18% last year, with 8,855 people sleeping rough, according to the annual data from Combined Homelessness and Information Network. And across the country, almost 2,000 families fleeing domestic abuse are at risk of becoming homeless each year, according to a report from the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Ending Homelessness. As well as secure accommodation, the Mayor's scheme will offer residents mental health support, money management advice, help finding jobs, education and training, and referrals to other agencies. The homes will be built by London Housing Association, One Housing Group, and Resonance Real Lettings Property Fund. The Mayor said the new housing would help London's most vulnerable people find stable, long-term accommodation. He said, "Once former rough sleepers and victims of domestic abuse have received immediate support, the next priority is helping them move on from hostels and refuges into somewhere safe and stable to live." These homes will offer a vital stepping stone as they are supported to live more independently and move on with their lives. It is now crucial the government urgently funds longer-term accommodation for former rough sleepers and victims of domestic abuse.
Learn how to waste less and save more. And this is about getting a free lunch. You can get a free lunch at an event which will give tips on how to reduce food waste and save money. North London Waste Authority is running a series of 7 waste less, lunch-free events. People will be able to watch live cookery demonstrations and sample delicious food made using ingredients that would have otherwise been wasted. Free tasters include vegetable curry, frittatas, and summer fruit pancakes. The average family could save £810 per year if they reduced the amount of food they waste. The events will be held in Camden, Waltham Forest, and Enfield. Now, the Camden one, sadly, took place today when we're reading this, so that's too late. Waltham Forest, however, is on August the 29th in Walthamstow Town Square, High Street, Walthamstow, East 17 7JN. And in Enfield, it will be on September the 7th, Fountain Island, The Town, EN2 6LE. And I've got another nice web address for you. Now it's wiseUp2org.uk/waste-less/food waste, all one word, /waste-less-lunch-free-events.
Paying the price of love. Enfield resident Paige Balmy on why she is campaigning to change the government's spouse visa laws. In December 2017, I was stood on a bridge over the A10 attempting to end my life. 2 days previous to this, I had received the devastating news from the Home Office that my now husband's fiancé visa had been refused. The refusal stated that my earnings were not enough for us to live together in our home in Enfield, despite me earning over the required amount. Although the decision to refuse my husband was incorrect, I soon learned that this was something that could not be fixed immediately. It took 11 months to put it right via a court appeal. At the time, I was completely oblivious to how common poor decision-making and maladministration at the Home Office had become. Despite many efforts to communicate their errors to them, the Home Office refused to listen and take me seriously, knowing that I was a vulnerable young woman who just wanted my right to a family life. I was essentially punished for falling in love with a foreigner. Not many are aware that the UK government's family migration rules demand that a British partner of a non-EU citizen must earn a minimum of £18,600 per annum to be able to live as a family, far higher than the minimum wage. This policy, implemented in 2012, has become known as the price on love and was part of the then Home Secretary Theresa May's plan to create a hostile environment for immigrants. Many cross-border families, like my own, fell victim to this policy. A report in 2015 by the Children's Commissioner's Officer revealed that more than 15,000 innocent children were affected growing up in Skype families, as well as families living in exile because rules prevent their return to the UK. The policy was meant to prevent migrants becoming a burden on the taxpayer, despite non-EU migrants having no access to public funds. My husband is an extremely hard worker, and along with many other non-EU migrants here as a spouse, he pays tax and national insurance contributions alongside an immigration health surcharge of £1,000 per application, which has to be renewed every 2.5 years. During our year of hell, I became determined to prevent anyone else feeling the way I did that day when I stood over a bridge over the A10. That's when I came across a campaign group called Reunite Families UK, which is passionate about bringing forward a more humane and fair family immigration policy. I now dedicate my time to campaigning for those families as well as my own. My husband is now back in the UK, but the damage has been so detrimental that I am undergoing treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder. The price on love policy is still hanging over our heads, and I am so frightened of any change of circumstances that might affect future applications. Going to university, changing career, or starting a family, which I so desperately want to do, is not an option right now because of the fear that myself and my husband will be ripped apart again. Knowing I am not the only person in this position gives me the drive to demand change. And here are some details about how to contact. First of all, Reunite Families UK. Visit this email address, internet address, reunitefamiliesuk.co.uk, and ask your MP to scrap the minimum income requirement for spouse visas. Visit, and this is a difficult one, so I'll say it slowly, jcwi.org.uk/take-action-to-bring-families-together.
Smoking blamed for high cancer rates. Enfield Council has launched a cancer awareness campaign. Cancer is the biggest killer in Enfield, and residents living in the borough's poorest areas are more likely to die after diagnosis, a new study has found. Cancer deaths are 22% more likely to occur in the most deprived areas compared with the most affluent parts of Enfield Borough. Patricia Bakinska, Chief Executive of Healthwatch Enfield, believes this is because of lack of awareness. She told the Dispatch, "Based on evidence from our outreach activities with local communities, we know that those from disadvantaged or low-income backgrounds are less aware of a range of health issues and are more likely to present with a more advanced stage cancer, leading to poorer outcomes. We also need to remember about Enfield's diverse communities, who may not be accessing prevention messages through standard channels. Cancer awareness across the borough is low, with only 30% of residents able to identify a single symptom. In response, Enfield Council last month launched a year-long campaign to provide residents with advice on how to spot symptoms, as well as lifestyle changes that can be made to reduce the chance of developing the disease. Mahtab Uddin, Cabinet Member for Public Health, said, "In many cases, cancer has become a treatable disease. Delivering improvements in early diagnosis of cancer by raising awareness of its symptoms is our main aim. We will also focus on the importance of prevention by promoting healthier lifestyles and encouraging people to participate in the national screening programs. But the single biggest impact anyone can make to reduce the risk of developing cancer is to quit smoking." A study published by the Council's Health and Wellbeing Board found that adult smoking is higher in Enfield than neighbouring boroughs and across England. Smoking is one of the biggest causes of death and illness in the UK. Every year, around 78,000 people die from smoking-related illness. In May, as part of a joint commission between all London boroughs, a new online portal called London Stop Smoking was launched to provide advice and education to Londoners aiming to stop smoking. All smokers living, working or studying in Enfield can now contact the free service, which is accessible both online and by phone. The Council's year-long cancer awareness project is a joint venture with Enfield Clinical Commissioning Group and will primarily aim to promote ways to prevent breast, lung, bowel and cervical cancers. To learn more about spotting the signs of cancer, visit nhs.uk/conditions/cancer.
We need better homes. Petition launched against permitted development schemes. Since 2013, property developers have been able to use something called permitted development rights to convert offices into flats without obtaining planning permission. The idea was well intentioned because it meant vacant offices could be turned into much needed homes. Unfortunately, however, it's had some pretty awful, unintended consequences. Firstly, it has led to some appalling housing. Many of the flats created are tiny. Some studio flats are about the size of a parking space, and the buildings are overcrowded. The flats can be poorly ventilated, do not need external windows or any outside space, and do not even need to meet environmental standards. Developers get away with all this because they don't need to obtain planning permission. Secondly, permitted development rules have created a loophole, which means developers can avoid making contributions towards affordable homes and community payments. It's hard to know exactly, but we estimate that Enfield Borough has lost 200 affordable homes and at least £1.2 million in community investment, money and homes we desperately need. The shortfall will be paid by us, Enfield's residents, but we think these developers should pay their fair share. Finally, many of our borough's offices are being converted, meaning business has to relocate further afield, thus reducing local employment. Thankfully, there's an easy solution to all this. Most London councils have used a directive called Article 4 to protect their boroughs from permitted development. Homes can still be built, but developers cannot avoid paying their fair share, and the homes must be of much better quality. Enfield Council, unfortunately, hasn't yet done this and has refused to act quickly. We think this is unacceptable. The longer this continues, the more poor quality homes will be created, with Enfield residents picking up the bill. By signing our petition, you'll be helping to reduce misery, increase affordable housing, save jobs, improve the borough's finances and help the environment. Now, to sign the Better Homes for Enfield petition, I have another site for you to consider, but it's much shorter. It's bit.ly/.
What we've achieved this year. Claire Fisher from Healthwatch Enfield on how local people have helped make a difference in 2018/19. Each month we bring you news of changes, improvements and campaigns in local health and social care services. Over the past year we have reached thousands of residents at community events, and hundreds more gave up their time to participate in workshops, give us feedback online and complete surveys. We have been looking back at the improvements you have helped us achieve over the past financial year as we release our 2018/19 annual report. We've heard from a greater number of people than ever before, which has contributed to even greater success in bringing improvements to local health and care services in Enfield. We also had more than 1,000 local residents tell us about their experiences of booking a GP appointment. This is the biggest piece of research we have completed in the borough and one of the largest samples collected nationally, as far as appetite for digital technology in primary care is concerned. This valuable investment from residents alongside our work with local health leaders and Enfield Council has enabled us to get mental health on the agenda for the Council's health and wellbeing strategy. We have partnered with local patients, their family and carers, and North Middlesex University Hospital NHS Trust to co-design a new patient experience strategy and secure improvements to services. We aim to get 83% of our recommendations for improvements implemented across 4 care and nursing homes we inspected. We have uncovered challenges around dental provision for those in care too frail to attend external appointments, and we have ensured residents' feedback is considered in upcoming changes to planned bone and joint operations. Patricia Machinska, Chief Executive of Healthwatch Enfield, said, "By sharing their views with us, local residents have shown us what matters to them most when it comes to health and social care services in Enfield. By working together with residents and leaders who have the power to make change happen, we have found solutions that involve local people in designing and delivering new services. This is the reason we exist. There's more work to be done, but in reflecting on the past 12 months, we're proud to already be making a difference to improve health and social care in Enfield." These are just a few of our highlights you can download from the full Healthwatch Enfield report for 2018/19 from our website, or obtain a printed copy via calling us. For more information about Healthwatch Enfield and to get in touch, call 020 8373 6283, email info@healthwatchenfield.co.uk, tweet @healthwatchenf, or visit healthwatchenfield.co.uk.
Life on the Hill. In our latest councillors column, Maria Alexandrou looks at the issues facing Winchmore Hill. She says, "It is an honour to represent Winchmore Hill Ward, a suburban area with a picturesque village green at its centre, surrounded by shops and cafes. The historic buildings give the area its charm. Local green spaces such as Hazelwood Sports Club, Woodcroft Wild Space and Grovelands Park, with its stunning lake, help make Enfield one of London's greenest boroughs. Unfortunately, the borough's green belt is under threat because Labour-run Enfield Council want to propose building on Cruise Hill. This conflicts with the London plan, which is firmly against green belt development. The Conservatives are also against these proposals because they would change the landscape of Enfield forever. Currently, 37% of Enfield is protected green belt. Enfield has the highest rate of serious youth violence in London, according to recent Metropolitan Police figures. Labour is in denial about this, blaming everyone but themselves. They ignore the fact that the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, is forcing many police front desks to close, while the council has badly let down young people by its inability to secure funding from a pot of 15 million aimed at youth projects to help curb youth violence. They have proved yet again how ineffective they are. I think Enfield residents deserve better. Enfield has experienced rising car crime, and I'm working closely with the local police, visiting car dealers about safety features and informing residents about safety awareness. Cycle lanes can also be made safer by adding painted direction arrows on them and reflector lights. Being a member of both the Planning Committee and Licensing Committee enables me to help shape Enfield's future. I am also on the Music Hub Committee, which promotes music in schools. The benefits of embracing music are immeasurable, and I have visited Enfield schools to give presentations about inspirational people. Finally, Enfield Southgate Conservative Association is opposing the Boundary Commission proposals, which want to cut up the borough wards that tie our communities together. I recommend emailing your views to this to reviews@lgbce.org.uk.
And following on from that music reference there, School of Rock. School children perform popular anthems on stage for the first time. More than 100 school children treated their friends and family to a rock concert in Edmonton, made possible by national music charity Youth Music. Local children were given the chance to be part of a rock band during their school day by Edmonton Community Partnership, which worked with Youth Music to fund lessons from Rocksteady Music School. The children from 8 different schools across Edmonton spent 5 months learning to play songs such as Blinded by Your Grace by Stormzy, Shotgun by George Ezra, and Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. The project set out to raise children's aspirations in Edmonton and teach children teamwork through music, while boosting well-being and confidence. The schools involved were Raynham Primary, Eldon Primary, Aylward Academy, West Lee Swan Campus, Churchfield Primary, Starksfield Primary, Wilbury Primary, and St Edmunds Primary. Ben Millier, head of Impact at Rocksteady Music School, said, "It was an honour to watch the children achieve beyond their expectations. They really rocked it. Playing in a band is an amazing experience for children, and we were thrilled to work with Youth Music and the Edmonton Community Partnership to teach such an inspiring group of young people. The confidence boost will stay with the children for years to come. That is what is so special about playing music in a group." Pupils at Rocksteady Music School are taught by professional gigging musicians with a focus on empowering all children to play music they love in real bands, even if they've never touched an instrument before. Claire Louise Marcel, Partnership Manager from Edmonton Community Partnership, said, "Some of these children had absolutely no confidence at the beginning of the project and had never stepped on stage before. To see them work together as a team and perform in front of a large audience at Millfield Theatre was absolutely amazing." Projects such as this are crucial to raising children's aspirations, supporting new skills, and showing them just what they can achieve. And what a brilliant afternoon it was. Yusuf Dahu, assistant head at Westley School, added, "Our young artists really enjoyed the moment and made us proud. They had the time of their life, overcoming anxiety barriers to stand on stage and perform in front of the
Book
audience."
signing. An author is holding a signing for his debut book. Jamie Morgan Kane, who lives in Enfield, will be holding a book signing at W.H. Smith in Enfield on Saturday, August the 24th. Jamie's book, 34 Years in Hell, was published in June. It tells the story of him being sent away to Canada at 6 months old, illegally taken to America, being sold to an American couple, serving in the US Navy, and finally going to prison for a murder he did not commit. Jamie spent 34 years in prison and met Charles Manson, Edmund Kemper, and Herbie Mullins. For more information on the signing, call 020-8366-3633.
Exploring Existence. Patrick Samuel from Palmer's Green, also known as the Asperger Artist, is releasing an insightful new album. As an exhibiting artist with attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, and autism, I also have synesthesia, a condition in which one sense is simultaneously perceived as another. For me, it's colour and sound. When I hear music, I experience colour bursts and see patterns and vice versa. That's why, apart from painting, music has always been my other outlet, and while on a train home from Folkestone in late December last year, I had an idea for both an exhibition and an album that would combine two of my other interests, magic and the cosmos. My autistic brain travelled the Milky Way and beyond as I tried to connect with my late father, who'd been gone for more than 6 years. In a short space of time, I wrote and produced 19 demo tracks that would form the backbone of my album, Distant Star. I was a little beyond my comfort zone because this is the first time I've committed my voice to record. The album was recorded with me playing 8 instruments in total and singing on all 13 tracks. I've also never been more honest with myself about the things I've struggled with. Love, loneliness, trauma, and existentialism are all explored here. The songs are stories about my experience. It's another way of offering insight into an autistic mind. Initially, my idea was to self-release Distant Star, like I did with my previous album, Beyond the Spectrum, an instrumental electronic album released in 2017. Luckily, I was signed by Tiergarten Records, a label set up by fellow autistic musician and friend Robin Jacks to support my neurodivergent creative in the music industry. To support neurodivergent creatives in the music industry, such as myself. So what kind of music is it? For lack of a better word, I say neurodiverse. Expect the unexpected. The album will be available from Friday the 16th of August, and 1 week later I'll be launching a new exhibition to coincide with the release. It will take place at Starfish and Coffee in Alderman's Hill, Palmer's Green, and is titled Distant Star Waveforms. The exhibition will be a visual companion to the album, with lyrics from the songs used to create waveform landscapes that probably tell more about my music than I could with words. You can find out more about Patrick's new album and art exhibition by visiting patricksamuel.net.
A letter from Gabby Roslin, BBC broadcaster. Join Charity Walk. As someone who loves to walk, I'm proud to support Bowel Cancer's UK Walk Together fundraiser. Every 15 minutes, someone is diagnosed with bowel cancer. That's over 42,000 people every year, which includes my dad, who has thankfully now recovered from the disease. Walk Together is a sponsored walk that brings people from all walks of life together to show our support for those undergoing treatment, remember loved ones, and help stop people dying from bowel cancer. You can join London's 5-mile walk on Saturday the 14th of September. Take on a virtual walk at your own pace or plan your own special walk together in your area. Bowel cancer is the 4th most common cancer in the UK and the country's 2nd biggest cancer killer. However, it shouldn't be because it is treatable and curable, especially if diagnosed early. Sign up to Walk Together to receive a fundraising pack with everything you need to hold your own memorable walk and help ensure a future where nobody dies of bowel cancer. bowelcanceruk.org UK/Walk Together.
And I have a letter here from Scott Wilson Evans, who is the PR and Media Communications Manager, the London Mint Office Limited. And he has the heading Sharing Hobbies. Hobbies are an essential part of British lifestyle and have been for generations. However, as technology continues to redefine how young people engage in hobbies, grandparents are becoming more isolated in the digital age as the interests they share with their grandchildren narrow. It may come as a surprise to your readers that just 19% of grandparents in Greater London share a hobby with their grandchildren. Yet despite this, 94% of grandparents across the UK believe sharing hobbies brings generations closer together. The generational hobby gap discovered by the London Mint Office in a recent survey shows us that there is a divide between grandparents and grandchildren and the hobbies they share, which we want to help change. More than 86% of survey respondents believe young people are less likely to have hobbies due to spending too much time in front of the TV, browsing online, or scrolling on social media. We don't want there to be a divide amongst different generations, and we want to celebrate the role that hobbies can play in bringing families across all generations together around a shared passion and interest. That's why the London Mint Office wants to hear from coin-collecting duos across the country and speak to those with a shared love for one of the few quintessentially British hobbies remaining. If you are a grandparent who shares your coin-collecting hobby with your grandchild or grandchildren, and you want to share your story with the London Mint Office, you can contact Scott Wilson Evans at scott.wilson-evans@londonmintoffice.org, or you can call 0330 024 1001. We look forward to hearing from you on the value of sharing a hobby with someone you love.
And this one is from Dame Esther Ranson, founder and president of The Silver Line, and it's headed Make a Difference. You may have heard of The Silver Line, helpline free, confidential on 0800 470 8090, which offers friendship and information to vulnerable and isolated older people. Since we launched 6 years ago, we have received more than 2.5 million calls from older people, most of whom have literally nobody else to speak to. They tell us that the conversations they have with us literally transform their lives, making them feel that they are not entirely alone, that somebody does care about them. As one lady asked us, "Where do you find such lovely people?" We need to find some more lovely people because we have just opened a new hub in London and we urgently need volunteers to answer some of the 10,000 attempted calls we receive every week. We will train you. It's important work and extremely fulfilling as well, sharing memories and lifting people's spirits. We hope that some of your readers may have a few hours free during the daytime, during weekday, which they could donate to us. If so, could you contact us at volunteering@thesilverline.org.uk or on 020 7224 2020 to find out more? We would love to welcome you onto our team, and you would know you are really making a difference.
A brewery in Enfield has won an award at a prestigious awards. The Burble Fish Brewing Company Limited was awarded 2-star Great Taste Awards, which means judges dubbed the product above and beyond delicious for each of its 1820 Porter and 1892 IPA, and a 1-star Great Taste Award, which means judges dubbed it a drink that delivers fantastic flavour for its Pangalatic Pale Ale. Judged by over 500 of the most demanding palates belonging to food critics, chefs, cooks, restaurateurs, buyers, retailers and producers, as well as a whole host of food writers and journalists, Great Taste is widely acknowledged as the most respected food accreditation scheme for artisan and specialty food producers. James Atherton, Managing Director of Burble Fish, said, "This was our first time entering the Great Taste Awards, and we are absolutely thrilled to have achieved such success in our inaugural outing. It's
and
great
now
honour."
the first of two football reports. Yes, it's the middle of summer, but football's back. First win of the new season for Borough. Enfield Borough secured their first win in Division 1 of the Spartan South Midlands League with a 5-3 success over Buckingham Athletic. Richard Enin and Ali Bangura scored a brace each, while Giuseppe Del Gaudio netted his first for the club in Saturday's game. Robbie Carter gave Buckingham the lead after just 16 seconds as they capitalised on a poor pass back. Or back pass. But Bangura levelled almost instantly when played in by Micah Jackson. Enin then nipped in between Ryan Marsden and Joshua McAdoo to poke in a second, and there were two more before the break as Enin tapped in his second and Del Gaudio reacted the quickest to a shot that had bounced off the post. Bangura slotted in his second and Enfield's fifth when he skipped around McAdoo and converted, but it wasn't all plain sailing in the second half as goals from Daniel Staley and Aaron King threatened a comeback. However, the lead proved to be unassailable and Borough held on for the win. Last Tuesday saw Enfield draw 1-1 with New Salamis. Borough took the lead when Bangura steered home, but Leon Mackenzie's equaliser meant the points were shared.
And here's another one about football. Late strike denies Town an opening day victory at Lewes. Enfield Town opened their Isthmian League Premier Division campaign with a 1-1 draw away at Lewes on Saturday. Ken Charles gave Town the lead with a debut goal after 38 minutes, but Stefan Illich's low drive late on meant the two sides shared the spoils on the opening day of the season. Nathan MacDonald started in goal for the away side, as did defender Mar Weatherstone and star striker Billy Bricknell. Enfield looked solid in the opening exchanges, and there were signs of some good build-up play from the back being displayed. When Lewis did trouble the back line, MacDonald was alert to the danger, comfortably gathering a cutback and then coming out to claim Kieran Pament's hanging cross. Lewis had another good chance when Deshaun Golding crossed for Ola Ademeo to head over, but the visitors responded well with two snapshots from Sam Youngs, a sign that they were getting to grips with the difficult weather conditions. This positivity continued for Enfield, and they were only denied the opening goal by a strong save from Nathan Stroomberg, who did enough to keep out Charles's powerful header. The debutant wasn't to be denied again, though, and he gave the visitors the lead shortly after when he latched onto a ball on the left and raced away from the defenders before sliding it under Stroomberg. Lewis's final opportunity of the half fell to James Hammond after Weatherstone committed a foul on the edge of the area, but his free kick came off the wall and bounced away to safety. With the wind now behind them, the first chance of the second half went Enfield's way and fell to Bricknell, but his poor finish allowed an easy save for Stroomberg. The Lewis goalkeeper was proving to be a saving grace for his side, and he was to deny Enfield again just 5 minutes later, this time getting across a tip over Lewis Tafi's free kick. James Potton and Dan Rumens also had attempts to add to the visitors' score, but the former's drilled effort went just past the post while Rumens headed off target from a corner. In the last roll of the dice, Lewis manager Darren Freeman introduced 3 substitutes, and it was goal scorer Illich that made all the difference. The former Tooting and Mitcham man first won a free kick that was well saved by MacDonald, but the keeper could do nothing to prevent Illich's equaliser as he hit a sweet drive into the bottom corner to level the scores at the death. It set up a nervy last few moments for Town, but they rode the pressure and came away with a point on the opening day. As the Enfield Independent was going to print, Town were preparing for their second game of the season and their first at home against Bishop Stortford, while this Saturday will see them host Horsham. Well, we've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Peter on the controls, Kitty, John and me, Danny, it's
Goodbye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the memory stick into the packet in a closed position and return it to us as soon as possible in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget, you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper on 020 8805 6578. Coming up next, the latest news and information for the Greater London area from InfoSound. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.